This is our last take for now. One take 20. Action.
Okay, welcome back, guys, to our final episode of One Take Season 1. In case you guys missed it, we released an update video on Friday that we have announced that One Take is ending for a limited time so that we can focus on other stuff. But while we're here, let's make it another good one. So today we are going to be doing a fun little thing mid-year Oscar nominations. We are halfway through the year virtually. So we thought, hey, why not give our takes on what has come out midway through the year? And hopefully the rest of the year will also be good too. We should say that during this, we are not going to be saying what our best picture nom is because there's a chance that it could stay the same, and we don't want to give that away for when we do our end of year discussion. And another thing that we want to mention before we start is for best actress and actor, we're going to be giving our two favorite and who we think are best, as opposed to separating best lead and best supporting, because there has been some discussion about like how to properly um, separate and categorize certain performances. So we're just like, hey, let's just give our top two who we think we is the best so far. And yeah, with that being said, I don't think I missed anything unless Dave, you have
Nope.
anything else to say?
No, you got it,
And
man.
yeah,
Perfect. Great intro. Great intro.
cool. Awesome. So yeah, I guess we can get started. And Dave, if you want to start off our mid-year Oscar nods from O2 Productions Go. Yeah.
All right. And I guess we'll just start with the above the line stuff first, since that's just kind of how we planned and discussed our order. So we're gonna start with best actor. And this is a category that was very close for me. I don't know if I can say for certain that my number one pick is like for certain gonna stay that way, but
Yeah.
through some deliberation, this is what I'm gonna go with. And actually, should I start with my number one or should I start with the number two, considering we're doing just like kind of top two sort of thing?
Um, I don't. Yeah, sure. Just start with your number one. I don't really.
Yeah.
For me, I personally don't really have um, a one or two. It's more so just like, okay, these are pretty good. But
Okay. Well, you can kind of say the same for me. Again, these are close, although I did make myself give like a set number one. And in this
yeah.
case, I'm gonna go with maybe a bit of a surprising pick. I'm not sure. Michael Johnston from Obsession. I
Hmm.
think his performance has almost gone under the radar a little bit because yes, maybe it's a little overshadowed by somebody who I'm sure we're going to talk about very soon. But
Sure.
he's still really great in this role. He plays this really awkward and obsessed individual. This guy who's really into this girl, and but is too afraid to admit it, too afraid to do something, trying to psych himself
Mm.
up to do it. And then, I mean, if you haven't heard the story yet, he makes this wish that she loves him more than anyone else in the world, and it goes really bad. So he also brings the
Yeah.
fear, he brings the anxiety, he brings the stress, and he also brings the darkness and the kind of
Mm.
the uneasiness that comes with this character taking advantage of somebody in this situation while still not being a completely just obvious on the nose just villain villainous figure. While he does end up being what I would call a villainous character pretty quickly, um, he brings a lot of dimension to the character. So that's my number one pick for best actor. Would you like
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
give your number one, and then we can go just throw in our number twos after?
Sure. So if I had to give a number one, I would give it to Robert Pattinson in the drama. Very interesting movie, one of which I did not expect the premise of when I saw it. But yeah, I really liked his performance. I think you really get to see his transition into like spiraling when the big, I guess, reveal is revealed in the plot. I Yeah, I just think that you see his I guess need for comfort and like thinking about like, oh, do I actually really know this person? Have I ever known this person for who she actually is? Going back and forth between like what his head says and what his heart says, and not to mention that this does take place when they're about to get married, and then something catastrophic is put out for him to really juggle and try to process. And yeah, I think he's a very underrated actor because of the fact that he came up from knowing him from Twilight, which is not a bad movie, but it's not necessarily a movie you'd like to be known from. But yeah, I think this is a step up. Um, next thing he's going to be in is the Odyssey. We'll see how that goes. But for now, I'm going to give it to Robert Pattinson.
Nice. Yeah, really good pick. My number two that I'll be moving on to, and it is gonna be Dylan O'Brien in Send Help.
Mm, okay.
Another
Yeah.
co-lead situation where maybe some people might see him as overshadowed, but I still think he's really great. His chemistry with Rachel McAdams is awesome. He is great at playing this privileged, um, younger kind of CEO type of role that he inherited,
Mm,
and kind of making fun of Rachel McAdams in the beginning, and then the way that transitions throughout the story into fearing her, and also just their back and forth is just so good throughout the movie where they just harass each other basically for almost
sure.
the entire runtime. So there's a lot of
Mm,
fear involved. There's a lot of anger, frustration, and trickery going on. And there's one scene in particular that's really good, where he is immobilized and mostly just has to
mm,
act
yeah.
with his face, barely even with his face, mostly just with his eyes. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
I'll throw out Dylan O'Brien as another top acting performance here.
Fair enough. Yeah. Um, Honestly, I didn't really feel that performance as much as you did, but it was still good. For my number two, I am going to go with Tom Blythe in Wasteman. It was a very under the radar movie. I'm pretty sure it didn't even release in theaters, but I still was able to catch it. Yeah, so Tom Blythe, if you don't know who he is, he was also in the movie People We Meet on Vacation. He was the male lead in that. And in Wasteman, he plays, I guess, the villain. He is a villain. He goes to jail. But his persona that he put out in this role was so, you like really felt like, okay, this is a bad guy. He should be in jail. He really brings the intensity to this role, and you feel actually like threatened by him. And it was a role because, well, the only other thing um, role I've seen him in is People We Meet on Vacation. So it was completely opposite for me to see him in this kind of role as opposed to that. So um, it maybe I just need to see more of him. But for this role, it really uh, wowed me. The movie itself didn't, but his performance did. So yeah, I'd give it to him
Yeah,
for my number two.
that's a great pick. That was another one that was actually in my considerations for
Mm,
best actor. He is really, really great.
yeah.
Um, and everything you said, I agree with. I think he really displays his range here. If you've also seen him
Hmm.
in the Hunger Games movie that he was in, that's
Oh
another
yeah, I forgot
very
about that.
that's
Yeah,
another very different character for him. So
it
even
is.
I would say relatively early in his career. I don't know. Those are the only three movies that I've seen him in are the two you mentioned and then the Hunger Games. Three
Mm,
very different roles, and he's really committed to all of them. And yeah,
he
he's
is.
really
Yeah.
impressed me so far. So I'll definitely keep my eye on Tom Blythe in the future as well. Would you like to take the lead for our next category?
Sure. I guess we'll move on to Best Actress. And we can start with our number one as per usual. And as Dave previously mentioned before, that we would bring up somebody from a movie that you mentioned. And I am going to do just that. She's all the rave right now with everything movie related and just um, like topics in general. But Indy Never Ready and Obsession. Everybody knew this was coming, but you have to say it because it is well deserved. Um, Never heard of her before this. A majority of people haven't, but she really just took over this movie. She made it her own. Um, you see, again, you get to see the progression from. She basically plays two different versions of herself. One of which Dave said is under a spell and is now crazily obsessed, and the other her truest self, where she's just like this sweet, loving, normal girl. So yeah, to start off, of course, she's normal, but then she spirals. I love how we get to see the progression from before the wish is made and after. Her facial expressions in um, like going back and forth between like who she is, what she's not, all that stuff. Her craziness in general. Her people are calling her the new Scream Queen and all that stuff. Um, you get to see the basically every kind of element that you can throw into a character. You get the horror element, you get the romance, um, fear, even, and happy elements too. She just completely nails it. Even the way she moves in this, which sounds weird to say, but like for what her character is, um, I guess supposed to do in this, the way she's able to like almost ventriloquize her body is just like wow, like I've never really seen somebody be able to do that before as well as she has. Maybe I have, I'm just forgetting. But yeah, she really blew me away, and I know she blew you away too, and everybody else in the world. But it needs to be said.
Yeah, absolutely. Indy Navarrete, I mean, star-making performance for sure. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she's just so incredible, has so much presence throughout that
Yeah.
film because of how much she brings to every scene she's in. And yeah, I'll second everything you said, and that's why I had no choice but to also select Indy
Mm-hmm.
Navarrete as
Yeah.
my number two
Well, number
because
two.
unfortunately she's been bested. And it's
Ooh.
by
Yeah.
another actual, if you want to use the term Scream Queen, I need to shout out as my number one pick for Best Actress, Samara Weaving in
Oh yeah.
Carolina,
Okay. Yeah.
Caroline.
Yeah.
From the moment I watched this movie and witnessed this performance, I instantly put her in front of Indy. This is a
Instantly.
movie that
That's
really
crazy.
resonated with
Yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
It was very small theatrical release. It's basically a Bonnie and Clyde story,
Mm-hmm.
with starring Samara Weaving and Kyle Gallner, both of which who are fantastic. That's another name that was in there for Best Actor as well. He's really
Sure.
good there. But it's basically about this girl who falls in love with a guy who's sort of a con man of sorts, and
Mm-hmm.
they start to travel the southeastern United States. And there's a lot of things that happen on the way of them conning people. There's also a
Sure.
story
Yeah.
about her wanting to meet her mom, who she hasn't seen for a long time, and a few other, things happen along the way, of course. But her performance, best indies, in my opinion, just because I think there's a bit more nuance there. I think that there's a bit more range in display. Indies is incredible. Indies is also there, but I
Mm-hmm.
do think that, and I don't necessarily blame Indy. I think I would almost blame the screenplay more, but just the fact that Indy a lot of times is just going for 11 out of 10 energy and just going over the
Sure.
top with
Yeah.
everything. She does it incredibly. It's fantastic. Do not get me wrong.
Right.
That's why she's my number two pick. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that Samara Weaving has even more to do, and the way that she's able to manipulate her voice, her physicality, in order to meet a wide variety of moments. One specifically that I point out is as they start to escalate their crimes that they're doing along their journey, Samara Weaving starts to take the lead on some bigger like bank robberies and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, and you
Yeah.
get to see her evolution. And like her first time doing it, she's able to have this very aggressive, obviously, voice that you're expecting when she's going in to rob a bank, but she's also able to layer that with an anxiety and stress that you can tell,
Right.
she's new to it, and then eventually
Mhm.
she pulls that out of her performance as she goes, because again, she's getting more used to it. So I think moments like that, as well as many others that she brings, have a bit more, I would say, dynamicism to them. That Indy, I mean, from the beginning, Indy is absolutely fantastic, but the fact that she kind of keeps on bringing a very similar note that's still incredible, I would just barely give the edge to Samara Weaving, but they're both
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic, and I I worry that neither of them are going to get the credit they deserve for these roles. Samara Weaving's
Yeah.
somebody who's already been around for a while. If you're a horror movie fan, she is so
Mhm.
fantastic, and I feel like
Mhm.
has been long underrated, and I think it's going to stay that way, sadly. But I have
Mhm.
to shout her out, and I mean, shout out to both of them. So great. So that's what I got for
Cool.
my best
Yeah.
actress.
I am really glad you liked that movie. I thought it was pretty good. Well, it was good. Um, yeah. For my number two, I am gonna go with a movie of which I mentioned before, and go with Emily Bader and People We Meet on Vacation. I mean, typically speaking, these kinds of movies are not usually my thing, but it was getting a lot of praise that I felt the need to watch it. And the two performances of Tom Blythe and Emily Bader in it really blew me away. I really liked their chemistry. I think Emily Bader slightly overstepped Tom Blythe in this movie, but I just really liked the way she played it. Of course, you can make the argument that she had a dialogue to work off of because this is based on a book, but you still have to portray that. I feel like it's kind of hard to mirror something you read from a book to actually on screen. Sure, you can get bits and pieces, but to actually feel it is another thing. Uh, just like her emotional, I guess, status in it, like she's always hiding something. What she really wants and what she thinks she wants, to see the contrast between that and seeing that she's always going to be like a I guess free bird, free spirited person when she really wants something else, or like this little thing. Um, yeah, just really blew me away with the ability to show different sides of a character, from emotionally to just in general. But yeah,
Nice. Not a pick I expected there.
I didn't either, but I really liked it.
I
Yeah,
think I think I was a little blinded with that one. I found her character a little bit grating to my brain. But
fair enough. Yeah.
with some of the way she behaves, I don't blame the actress there though. I think that's more of a something I didn't really
Sure.
just like about the story overall. But
Well, I think that's part of her character to be kind of, I guess, childish is the right way to say it. Just like she needs to grow up in a way, but she also doesn't want to. Like she wants to be this free person, but like she's getting to the point where she kind of can't always be that,
yeah,
and she can't grasp that. But yeah,
yeah. Maybe I should give her more credit for the fact that it's actually effective and kind of being,
mm,
yeah, kind of flawed in that sense. But
yeah,
yeah. Moving on, we're gonna go
yeah,
to Best Director, and
yes.
I'll take the lead here first, and
Mhm.
I might have a feeling that we're gonna share the same one here, but we'll see.
I don't
For
know,
me, it's
man.
going to
Yeah.
be Curry Barker for Obsession. I think
Mhm.
he shows a lot of control over the story, over the pacing. The
Yep.
cinematography is wonderful.
Yep.
Getting the most out of his performances. I mean, we've named the
Hmm.
two leads as two of our best, our favorite picks for performances of the year, so that he
Yep.
deserves a good amount of credit for that. Um,
Hmm.
the effects, I mean, just what the director does, bringing everything together, really making a film that's distinct and has a very specific and clear voice, and one that I really enjoy. And for
Yep.
this to be also his first theatrically released feature film, it's just so incredible. I felt like I couldn't pick anybody else.
Yes.
There are definitely other directors who have done
Mm.
great work so far this year, but Curry Barker's my choice.
Fair enough. And I totally agree with that pick. He deserves. all the praise and every credit that he's getting. But you are
Oh,
wrong.
wow.
We have not picked the same director. I am gonna go with a movie and director of which I just saw yesterday. It has to be Andrew Stanton for Toy Story
Wow.
5.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Now, Toy Story 5, I had very low expectations for because I felt the need to not continue the story and I was very skeptical of it. However, I still went to see it because the story enticed me enough. I was like, this could be interesting. We'll see how it goes. um, yeah, absolutely love the movie. I think the way he obviously directed the movie, the story, how you get to see the effects of tech, the want to be like a normal kid, how there's actually still, I guess, normal kids that want to like physically play and be a kid without the need for tech and all that stuff. Um, yeah, even though this is an animated film, I still think it deserves the praise for Andrew Stanton, especially because of the fact that um, a lot of people in general had doubts about it, and the I'm pretty sure the fourth one came out in 2019, so there was like a was that 7 year difference. In 7 years difference, he still makes Toy Story 5 relevant, and I'm sure they're gonna make the sixth ones. We'll see how that goes. But for Toy Story 5, really enjoyed it. I think he deserves a lot of um, credit for still making it feel like Toy Story and an overall just great movie.
Yeah. And I felt a little bit bad actually after watching Toy Story 5 because I kind of felt bad for doubting Andrew Stan a little bit. I mean, this is a guy who's
Hmm.
been working for Pixar basically almost since the beginning, I want to say.
Yeah. Hmm.
He wrote the original Toy Story, or he was a co-writer on it at the very least.
Yeah.
And so he's been around for a long time. He's made loads of amazing films. Toy Story 5, while not exactly at the level of the greatest, it is a really good movie, I would agree. And
Mm.
yeah, that's a really inspired choice. I like that. It's
Yeah.
good.
But yeah, I mean, Andrew Stanton was also another reason why I was like, I had some hope in Toy Story 5 being like at least okay, but of course it surpassed my expectations because he is a Pixar goat. But
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, I guess we can move on to best screenplay. And I guess I can take the lead on that if you want.
Yep.
So screenplay. I'm doubling up. I'm going with Toy Story 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, good
I
pick.
I was really debating this because originally I had Obsession, but after seeing Toy Story 5, I just really liked the way that it was written out, how everything played out, and all that stuff. Not that Obsession doesn't deserve it, but Toy Story 5 was like blew me away because again, the time frame, the doubt, and yeah, just how they wrote it out to how they put it on screen. I was very pleased with it. So have to give it to Toy Story 5, Andrew Stanton again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good choice. And I will preface this by saying this was far and away, and I know I've said this a couple times that it was difficult, but this easily was the toughest category for me. I think there's been a lot of solid, really good screenplays. I don't think there's been one that's really like been overly exceptional in my personal opinion, but there's been a lot of really good ones that there were so many up for debate here that I'm not even going to shout them all out because it was like a list of like four or
Yeah.
five. There was a lot.
Oh man. Okay.
So my final choice for best screenplay so far in 2026 is going to be Send Help by Damian Shannon
Really?
and Mark
Wow.
Swift.
Okay.
I just
Hmm.
think that the dialogue and the characters are just so over the top in the best way, in my opinion.
Hmm.
It has so much fun with its premise. The banter back and forth, the constant, you know,
Hmm.
um, kind of one upping each other and
Sure.
just absolutely messing with each other's minds and everything that goes on is just so much fun. It really allows
Hmm.
Sam Raimi and these lead actors to really just have a blast with this and
Hmm.
the twists and turns are really fun. There is the one of the biggest twists in particular, I'm not so much a fan of, and that was one of the things that holds it back from being, exceptional, like I said. But
Mhm.
I just found a lot of the scripts that I was thinking about. I haven't read through any of these, by the way, so I'm not gonna act like I read them
Sure.
intricately, but just based on how the story plays out in the movie, a lot of these scripts had like small aspects that were like, yeah, kind of had their drawbacks, but I think the
Mhm.
twist works well enough for me in this movie. And I just thought it was so much fun. And I thought the character dynamics were just so good that I think that's what pushes it just barely above the rest. So yeah, Send helps my number one script of the year so far.
Interesting. I think I need to rewatch that because I as per usual, I just don't. I am not on the same page as the rest of the world, as per usual.
I think I'm a lot
I
higher on it than most people. So
it's been getting a lot of praise, but I just didn't see it. I just felt it was, I mean, in a way, kind of generic, if I may say, but it was fine. Yeah,
best
all
score for the
for
year. And this was a fairly comfortable pick for me. I think my mind instantly went to this. Um,
it.
and I instantly kind of felt it as I was watching this movie. And it is going to be Project Hail Mary, uh,
Yeah.
composed by Daniel Pemberton. It's just a really nice, grand, um,
Hmm.
fun sci-fi score.
Yeah.
It has a really good use of instruments. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm super well
Mm.
knowledged in music theory, but it's just really
Sure.
fun. I think it really fits the tone that they were going for with the movie, despite the fact that I don't love that. But
Mm.
it has a lot of fun while still again having that grandiosity where it's like it feels big. When those big moments hit
Yeah.
in the movie, the score really emphasizes that. And
Yeah.
yeah, just
Hmm.
and there's a lot of work he put into this. I mean, I think the entire soundtrack is like almost 2 hours long. I think like he put a lot of
Mm.
work into this, and a lot of tracks feel sound very distinct. And yeah, I really enjoy the vibe of it.
Fair enough. Um, yeah. I mean, I actually had a tough time thinking about the best score for this year. But I actually ended up on the exact same page as you. I picked Project Hail Mary, even though, as probably most everybody knows, it was not my favorite movie. I still have to give it credit musically because, as you said, you really felt um, the moments like the chord progression, it the progression on like the intense moments or the happy moments or um, it, he what's that word like he conducted it in such a way that like it matches the energy of the certain scenes, the movie itself. And it also feels very like 70s, 80s spacey kind of vibes in it, which obviously matched the movie. And yeah, I liked it enough to where I was like, yeah, I'll give it the nod for best score so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good. And I think it can I think it can go up alongside a lot of other sci-fi scores, and like you can listen to it and be like, yeah, this sounds like a lot of classic
Yeah.
sci-fi sort of feeling scores, while still being very
Hmm.
much its own. Where it's like
Hmm.
it wouldn't work nearly as well with an Interstellar or whatever sci-fi you want to insert,
Absolutely
but
not.
with Project
Yeah.
Hail Mary, I think it really fits really nicely.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, I guess we'll move on to who we are gonna pick for best cinematography in a movie. Um, yeah, my pick actually surprised me. I did not expect to hit this one, but I'm going to say it. Exit 8.
Oh, didn't see that
Exit
coming.
8, directed by Genki Kawamura, and the cinematographer is Keizuki Imamura. Apologies if I mispronounced that. But I watched this movie a while ago. I really liked it. I think that the cinematography was very interesting. It was, um, yeah, the saying of how less is more. Like it was very, I don't want to say like, all right, it was simple but effective for what the movie is. And for what the movie is, I think the cinematography matched the feel and intensity of the movie to the point where I was like, okay, I feel it. Like this is really good. I like the way that there was a lot of long takes and different kind of angles that mirrored the scenes that were happening. And yeah, I just really liked how again it matches the feel of the movie. I think they did a great job. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Nice. Yeah, I still gotta check that one out. My
Mm.
pick for best cinematography, I'm going to go with Obsession. Movie we're talking about a lot here.
Mm. Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I it I don't want to just keep driving home the same movie, but if I find it's
Right.
the best, it's the best. In some cases where it was
Mm-hmm.
close, I tried to pick unique movies, but Obsession is just, in my opinion, clearly the number one here. Cinematographer Taylor
Fair
Clemens,
enough.
already shouted out Curry Barker as the director. Um, it's
Mm-hmm.
just so controlled and so calculated. I think
Mm-hmm.
the very precise movements combined with some very good blocking as well to really take advantage of the
Mm-hmm.
depth of a lot of frames was very nice. And the camera moves to really fit the scene and not draw too much attention to itself. um,
Mm.
but the thing that maybe draws a lot of attention to itself in this movie is the lighting, which it does so in a
Yes.
fantastic way. The use
Mm-hmm.
of really heavy shadows is really cool,
Yeah.
um, and sometimes giving you just enough light to know what's going on or what's maybe about to happen, but
Mm.
not too much that you're overblowing the scene, and it loses
When
the fear, the anxiety that they're trying to get in this throughout this
mm.
film. So just really just incredibly calculated by lesser known names, and I just have to shout it out because I don't think any movie's done what Obsession has with the camera and the lights and everything involved with that.
Fair enough. Yeah. And I also agree with that. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So, next up, this is going to be our second to last category, and it's actually a new category as of last year, and that is Best Casting. And
Mm-hmm.
this is a category that I'm glad is now a thing because I think it's a nice way to credit, maybe in some cases, um, the people who gave us some of the best performances of the year, but also to credit maybe some casts where maybe there's a lot of really good performances that don't, maybe the individual performances don't quite get recognized.
The
So
supporting cast. Yeah.
yes, yes, yeah, getting this more of the supporting cast in there. So in this case, I am going to go back to another repeat, and it's going to be Carolina Caroline. Um,
Ah.
the
Okay.
casting director
Yeah.
here, I apologize for the pronunciation. It's Lindsay Weissmuller. That's the best pronunciation I could get there. But I mean, the big thing here is the leads. I've already talked about Samara Weaving, Kyle Gallner. I mentioned contender for best actor. So that right there, you have a great 1-2 punch up front. And
Mm.
not only that, not only are they great on their own, but their chemistry is some of the best that I've seen in, I would
Really?
say, years.
Wow.
Their chemistry is so fantastic on screen. Um,
Mm.
and then beyond that, I think there's some really nice performances here in the supporting cast. Most specifically, Samara Weaving's mother and father. I do not
Mm-hmm.
have their name, so I apologize. But the father, brings this fatherly, very intimate relationship with her, especially considering he is a single father.
Mm.
And the moments between him and Samara are really powerful, and you feel the connection very quickly. Um, and then the mother is quite the opposite, I would just say. I don't want to jump into spoilers too much, but she is so
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. She is in the movie, very briefly is all I'll say, and
Yeah.
I mean, almost steals the show. Unfortunately, she was
Mm.
also in the scene with Samara, who's
Right.
just acting her butt off. But they,
Mm.
they both did. They both did, and they're both still great. A few other smaller performances in there. The one more that I'll mention is there's this very small moment, this very quick moment with a little girl that's also really good at one of their bank robberies. That's all I will say
Mm,
there. Um, and yeah, just throughout the cast, really, really strong for Carolina, Caroline.
fair enough. Yeah. I'll agree with you there. Yeah, definitely. All right. For my best casting, I am going to repeat a lot of what has been said, but it has to be said. Obsession. And I just looked up who the casting director is. It is Skylar Zern. Um, Gotta give Skylar Zern props for the casting because obviously we've talked about the two leads, but I want to talk about the supporting cast of Cooper Tomlinson and Megan Lawless, who basically had, other than the main, had the most screen time. But you really feel just overall everybody added something to the movie itself. It wasn't a big cast, but everybody had um, who their character was, how their actions impacted everything that happened in the movie itself. Everybody added, and I really like it when movies do that. And the fact that this was such a small cast, maybe that helped, but even still, you develop a liking to virtually every character. Like you can't not like a character in this, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, the overall casting, especially because that a lot of these um, stars were very either unknown or up and coming, and the fact that you can um, cast them in these roles that like basically transcended it or currently transcended their careers. It's very impressive. And also, I forget his last name, but his first name's Andy. He played the store owner. Even he added something to the story. Like such a small role, but again, added everybody added something, which is I mean why it was my pick. But yeah,
All right.
cool.
Moving on.
Now, yeah, we're gonna. This is our last pick for the mid-year Oscars, and it's gonna be best effects. What do we think? What movie do we think had the best effects? And for me, I am gonna go with good luck, have fun, don't die. Um, yeah, I saw this movie a while ago. I really liked it. I was actually debating on what movie I would pick for this, and I had to go back to this movie because I really liked what they did. If long story short, it is about also about AI and technology and all that stuff. So certain, um, I guess, graphics and animations and CGI is meant to kind of portray and mirror that kind of stuff. So like some people could argue like, oh, that looks bad, but like in a way, it's supposed to look like that because it's AI or um, like stuff people make on online and all that stuff. But even though that stuff like comes to life in the real world and you see all that stuff, even besides all that, just like um, the the showing of like technology, different stuff that was happening on the phones and what's that VR stuff and all the things obviously effects wise. I just really liked how they did it, and it felt almost real to me. Yeah, or like a reality that we could see possibly in the future. Hopefully not, because hopefully it's kind of scary to imagine that. But um, yeah, just really liked it. I think it looked really good.
Yeah. That was actually my number two.
Really
Yeah,
interesting.
that's a really strong pick there. A lot of good moments in that movie that really lend themselves to a lot of
Mm.
complicated effects work, and they did a great job there. But my number one for best effects so far is going to be Project Hail Mary. Going back there again because I mean, being a sci-fi movie, there's a lot to do
Mm.
with space, and the moments where Ryan Gosling is going out on outside the ship. There's a lot of moments there that have a lot of nice
Mhm.
looking effects and everything. But most of all, I mean, Rocky is a very clear example. He was puppeteered on set a lot. I'm sure there was some enhancements done in post as well, but
Saw that. Yeah.
all in all, just very, very good overall. And yeah, just really cool looking movie. A lot of moments like stick out, and I remember mostly because of the look of the film and the effects that are going on.
Mm.
It are just really, really impressive, and a lot of cool designs as well for things. Again, going back to Rocky, but also like the tunnel where they meet up is very distinct looking and things like that. So they had a lot of fun with it, and it looks really great. There was never a moment where I looked at it and was like, you know, that I thought something looked off or didn't
Mm.
really work for me in any sort of
Yeah.
way. So yeah, really good.
Fair enough. Yeah. Um. Yeah. And with that, that is our mid-year Oscar discussion for what we like and give you guys an idea of what we've seen so far and a little bit about our feelings on these too. And yeah, with that, thank you again for a great season one. We'll be back for season two. It's just a matter of when. We will let you know. And yeah, let us know what your picks would be for each of the categories or just in general, who you think should win at the end or just right now if it was to end. And yeah, Dave, you got any final words of wisdom you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just like to say we made it. End of season
Mm,
one. Kind of abrupt, but this is a good way to wrap it up, I think. And
it is.
yeah, I'm excited to see how these things maybe change or don't as we go through the rest of 2026. So,
Mm,
um, there's a lot to be excited for the rest of the year at the movies. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us with these videos, and we hope to get back to them pretty soon.
yeah,
we don't want to hold off on talking movies because this is a great outlet for me to not annoy the people around me about all the movies
uh,
I watch and things
right.
like that. So, um, yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yeah. And just one more thing before we leave, in case you guys missed it in our update video and choose to watch it on here, we are going to be making it, just to reiterate, we're going to be making a separate channel for these one take videos in case you miss it. And this is also a place you'll hear it too. And we, again, will let you know when that happens. And yeah, thank you guys again and stay tuned.